speaking of Brandon Graham, we had him on the show a few weeks ago. And Brandon Graham, you know how he is, how energetic and enthusiastic he is. And he said he couldn't wait to get back on the field. He said, Lane Johnson will be my first victim.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean by that? So explain that, please.
I feel like I'm BG's talking trash dummy. He's telling me some stuff every day. Usually every day at practice, yeah, I'm coming for you, fat boy. And then he was telling me, and then he was telling Brooks the same thing. Hey, and he wouldn't stop. And if he did make a play on it, he just answered up. Made it work.
Oh man, that's awesome. Third hour of the program. Welcome back in, everybody. We are Sports Take. He is Derek Gunn, along with Barrett Brooks. I am Rob Ellis, and we're thrilled to have our next guest. He has been a stalwart, a stud for the Eagles for a very long time. Looking good. The beard's in midseason form. He is ready to rock and roll, and that is Eagles right tackle Lane Johnson. Lane, thanks for taking a couple minutes, man. Great to see you in the offseason. How's everything going?
Going good, man. It's good to see y'all. Haven't seen y'all in a long time. So
right, what's going on, bro?
You know how it is. Get ready for the season.
Yeah, you
working out, man. Where the heck have you been? And where the heck have you been? You've been quiet this offseason. Where you been hiding, man?
Man, I just got a new place in Oklahoma, so getting that all squared away. That's pretty much it. Laying low.
Are you in the workout cauldron right now, Lane? Is that where I always see the barn, man? The barn looks like an unbelievable place.
No, I'm not in the barn. I'm at a friend's gym, but about to do the same thing that I do in the barn.
Have you worked out at all with your fellow Oklahoman, your Oklahoma buddy Jalen Hurts? Has there been any working out with you guys together this summer?
Yeah, I mean during OTAs and then times he was in Jersey, he would come over a lot. But usually he comes over there at 6, or 5 or 6 pretty early. Mine's usually after, and I say, hey man, we ain't playing no games at 5 or 6 to mess with him. But
well, hey, going into the season, man. Oh, my fault.
Go ahead, Barry.
We're going into the season, man. Expectations are really, really high, man. You know, probably the number one offensive lineman in the NFL right now, man. And you know, looking at your right guard, bro, this is the first time you're not gonna have your boy B. Brooks going into the season, man. So you got to get somebody ready to play that right guard position, man. What's going on with that?
I'm just on standby, I guess. Really, when you can't really replace a Brandon Brooks, and I feel like, and he was a guy that was so underrated his whole career. People didn't understand how easy he made it look. He was, 360, and was just making it look too easy out there. People that that usually shouldn't be thrown around are getting thrown around. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm ready to get Isaac back. Isaac is another guy who's probably one of the more talented linemen I've ever been around. He's played center in NFL. He's played both guard positions and both tackles, and he does them well. He moves like a cat. I know he's coming back from injury, and as far as working out with him, nobody's training harder than he is in the rehab process. So he's looking good.
Hey, Lane, somebody tweeted earlier today, right tackles in a game that allowed no right tackles and the sacks they allowed in 2021. And it starts with Lane Johnson 0. And you quickly retweeted that. When you look at that stat, that's an incredible stat, man. What do you attribute your success last year to in terms of just being that lockdown right tackle?
Probably Jalen. I mean, it's different no, seriously, when you get a quarterback like that just has a dynamic ability, you can ask Barrett. I mean, those people, those D linemen are thinking more than, they don't want to break contain, or they have certain directions from their coach to not do this, because you see Jalen make those, 15, 20-yard scampers, and, that gets old to the D lineman very quickly.
Lane, I got to ask you, just observing, I know he's the other side of you, but observing at practice and, on film and whatnot, the job that Landon Dickerson did as a rookie last year, what are your impressions of him in the early stages of his career?
He's unbelievable. It's usually me, Kelsey, and Isaac lift in one group, and Jordan and Landon lift in another group, and just some of the things that Landon's able to do in the weight room and then translated on the field. Yeah, he's really. I mean, he can be as good as he wants to be, and I think he had some injuries to overcome, and he wasn't feeling really, I guess, good early. But as the season progressed, I think you saw the confidence come back, and you saw him and Jordan over there just mauling dudes.
That's got to be unbelievable feeling, man.
Mm-hmm.
I love watching it.
Yeah.
I remember a time when you talked about how you guys took Jordan Mailata under your wing. You guys nurtured him, brought him a long way, and now you look at him. He's got the new contract. Now he's being talked about among the best left tackles in the game.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the transformation that you've seen in him from when he was a guy trying to learn to play this game to now being able to stand on his own?
Yeah, well, I feel like the early years on, especially, you're talking about somebody that's never played from a high school level, had a progression or even, knew what he was doing, and making the transition to where he has, it's unbelievable. It's kind of like Jason Peters, having never played that position and coming to the NFL and doing what he's doing. But, and I said this before, Jordan, there's nobody that's been that big, that athletic. He's 380 on a bad day. And it's all. It's not bad. The dude is super strong. He's yoked up. And I said, hey, he's like, once. I feel like he's already figured it out. He's going to be a problem. I feel like he can be the best left tackle in the league for however long he wants to play. He has that. He has that type of ability.
Man, how is it playing for an all-star offensive line coach and Coach Stoutland, man? I played with some pretty good offensive line coaches. I had Russ Grimm, one of the original Hogs. Juan Castile, was instrumental in becoming a player. But being with Coach Stoutland, man, and I'm just watching him out there and how get you guys going, man. I love how all you guys do it too. You guys jump that snap count every single play you guys can, man. How's it playing for a guy that really teaches you guys this thing?
One thing about Stout is he observes a lot. When he came into the league, he always saw how Jason Peters was always early, or really. It's like the gun of a track meet, and we're trying to get back to our spot. Before the end tries to get you turned. So he's really good at developing players. And probably the thing about him is he's the most persistent. I've never seen somebody carry the same intensity every day through 10 years, really from morning till the meetings are over. But yeah, it's fun to be around too. He's very funny too when he wants to be. But but no, he just wants every person. He doesn't care if you're the starter, the backup, third string. He said anytime could be your time. And you've seen throughout the years when people haven't been in the lineup or mixed up lineups and how people have done. And that's all to him and Coach Roy, Coach Chung before him, and Coach Greg Austin before him. So it's been a pattern of just greatness.
Hey, man, you're 30. You just turned 32. Are you starting to feel it now at this stage of your career?
I think my hair is starting to grow back. It was growing. I think it's starting to grow back now. I'm joking.
It looks good. You obviously combed it today. It looks good, Lane. Nice work out of you there.
I had to get combed over this morning.
Hey, let me ask you. So you bring up Mailata never played until he strapped him on when he got here. You talked about Jason Peters converting from tight end, but your journey was amazing too. Quarterback, tight end to offensive lineman and adapting that quickly on the fly. That's a pretty amazing story for people out there to just look at and think, man, anything can happen if I put in the work and do the right things.
Yeah, I had to learn, going from a quarterback, and really my first training camp here at OU, I was getting tossed around. The first couple of years I was getting tossed around just because I wasn't used to that type of environment. And, once I was backing up out of reserve role at defensive end, and I was at around 285, and Josh Heupel came up to me and said, hey, man, how much you weigh? And I told him, and then the next day I was in the middle of a pass rush drill, and I switched to tackle, and I was like, well, it's kind of like basketball, except they can knock you on your butt sometimes. So that's really how I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. I got to ask you, you were one who was has been very, I think you've helped a lot of people in doing it, being very outspoken about mental health and how critical that is. How hard was that for you to go public with, last year and how rewarding was it for the response that you got after you did?
I was just it's one of those decisions. So I feel like, if you're in the NFL now or the NBA, I mean, it's going to be public knowledge. So it was what it was, and I felt like, yeah, I mean, only it's affected me positively. I feel like a lot of people reached out to me, a lot of student athletes, which I feel like a lot of my stuff started in college. I feel like a lot of that really age group of people have probably affected the most in a good way.
Interesting. That's awesome. I commend you for doing that, man. It takes a lot of guts because there's a lot of people who are suffering silently who are afraid to speak out. So appreciate you doing that. Yeah,
absolutely, man. And you were strong for standing up for that, man. Because I mean, I dealt with a lot of people, man, that don't say anything and suffer because they don't say anything. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's been like players before. Dawkins has spoke about it publicly. There's a lot of people you think it wouldn't bother, but it really, it's more common than you think, and really, it just all begins with opening up, and really, it starts there.
So,
well, hey, talk about opening it up.
Go
ahead.
Since you've gone public with it, and I'm assuming you've had a lot of people help you along the way in terms of combating it. What are some of the things you do now if you possibly feel it coming on? What are some of the things you do now to combat it?
Really, I try to stay busy. And that's one of
okay,
and how to really, I guess, manage my time. So a lot of it's physical exercise.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it's the sauna. I don't know. Bear's been in the sauna a lot. Get that thing up to about 200 for about 20, 30 minutes, and
woo!
A lot of your energy will be gone. So I like to do that every day.
Yep.
Woo, man!
Talking about letting loose, man. The expectations of my beloved birds, man, is as high as has been in a long time, man. And going into the season, especially with the offensive side of the ball, you guys are going to open up a little bit. Hopefully next year, this year coming up, man. What are your expectations as far as opening up the offense, getting things going where, defense are going to have to think twice about leaving that extra defender in the box, especially with the receivers that you have outside?
Yeah, I just feel like we have more weapons in our arsenal, but I feel like how our approach goes every day with the coaches we have, I mean, they don't let us get into a habit of looking beyond what we're doing today. And that's really how you got to be. But in the offseason, I mean, yeah, it is fun to think about. I mean, it makes a lot of good headlines. But at the end of the day, you got to go play. And we know that. The fans know that. And really all you can do is put in the most work possible and play with intensity. And I feel like, we have a lot of key additions in the drafts and with AJ that we could be a very good unit. And I feel like the work has to be done. So that's really what we're concentrating on right now.
Yeah, Lane, one of the things I think is cool on social media, you'll react when the Eagles make a big move. You'll give the eyes emoji or whatever the case may be. Curious, you're sitting there draft night and you see the A.J. Brown trade to bring a guy of that caliber established in the league over. What do you think about A.J.?
Man, when you look at him on the hoof, I think of like an Anquan Bolden. He's 6'1", 225. Looks like he's about that action. And when you watch the tape and you realize that he is, yeah, man, he's a special guy. And just the guys that we added in the draft, Jordan, N'Kobe, and Cam, I mean, I cannot wait to see him, Fletcher Cox, and Javon Hargrave, and Sweat BG, all those guys just lined up and saying, this is going to be fun to watch.
Hey, speaking of Brandon Graham, we had him on the show a few weeks ago. And Brandon Graham, you know how he is, how energetic and enthusiastic he is. And he said he couldn't wait to get back on the field. He said, Lane Johnson will be my first victim.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you mean by that? So explain that, please.
I feel like I'm BG's talking trash dummy. He tells me some stuff every day. Usually every day at practice, yeah, I'm coming for you, fat boy. And then he would tell me, and then he would tell Brooks the same thing. Hey, and he wouldn't stop. And if he did make a play on it, he just answered up. Made it work.
Oh man, that's awesome.
But what's that luxury? Yeah, what were you about to go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish.
I said BG's a unique player, and he's a guy who's who's been unreal. When you watch the tapes from years and years ago until now, he just destroys games. He's such a powerful force in the run game, and then rushing the passer. You know, he's built like a sawed-off shotgun. He's about 6'2", about 280, benching 500. Dude, he just low center of gravity. And thing about BG, man, there ain't no bad days for him, and that's infectious. You know, and it's kind of like Slay too. Them two there, they're never a bad day, and you need that from your teammates.
No, what I was going to ask you was, what's it like to have the luxury of having a Brandon Graham across from you every day that keeps you on your toes? I mean, a lot of tackles, when they line up, they don't get to line up against the caliber of players sometimes of a Brandon Graham every day in practice.
No, I mean, it's been that way. And then when if Fletcher's is on my side too, just Brandon and I every day just going after it. Yeah, and you do realize, you know, when you play those types of players that when you go to different teams, not everybody has that, and it feels like, you know, Brooks would say, "Man, you got the week off this week." And I would tell that to him sometimes. But that was just our way of, I mean, we knew what we were going against. And I remember Sweat from a few years ago before I was saying how good Sweat was, you know, a few years ago, and what I saw as far as talent-wise, and just seeing him become what he's becoming. I'm very excited about our defense. But like I said, I mean, there's a lot of expectations, but as far as putting in the work in, man, that's all we can concentrate on.
I've been kind of seeing the praises of this young kid you guys have, and I just watched it, you know, throughout the whole camp and one-on-ones. But Coyote Owisaka and also Dillard, man, both of those guys. Dillard put on some weight, man. Looked like he got a little stronger, man. He looking pretty good, man. You know, and could you tell me a little bit about him and then Coyote also?
I think Dillard could be a starter right now for lots of teams. He's unbelievable. And whenever he played last year, I mean, he went against Burns. He went against Parsons, Gregory. And when I look at him now, he has unbelievable foot quickness. He's very strong in the weight room. And I feel like Andre is, hey, you on your way. He's on his way. And then when Coyote, who's another guy who's ungodly strong in the weight room, and really you look at his lower body, man, he's built like a tank, and he moves people off the ball. He's got very light feet, very nimble feet whenever he's very good foot quickness and pass protection. And he's just a guy that's, I'm seeing these guys fresh out of college, and now they're starting to get their second, third years in, and you can see the confidence grow in them. And you could probably relate to that, Barrett, whenever you're a younger player.
Yeah, I kept telling these guys look so good, man. I kept telling them, man. But, I mean, I can't wait, man. That's just the starting offensive line. You guys have to be ranked the #1 offensive line in the league, man. Bar none. I know you got to go out and prove it, man. But, man, I've seen all you guys play, man. It's so much you guys are going to be able to do from a pass blocking standpoint, run blocking standpoint. I mean, what would you say your favorite is? Run blocking, as far as zone plays or man plays like in power plays? What do you guys specialize in the most?
My favorite is I love power plays. I love teeing off of the guard onto the linebacker. That's one of my favorite things. Now, I'll do anything else, but that's probably my favorite. I like the pin and pull schemes. But as far as running pass, you could ask every offensive lineman in the league, would they rather be third and 2 getting low, or would you rather be out there against Joey Bosa on the island?
Right.
So, it is what it is. Hey, you got to be flexible.
Yeah. Lane, I got to ask you about last year. You guys made quite a turnaround, man, and a lot of it was sort of spurred by what Nick Sirianni said about the plant, and everybody went nuts about that, as you know. But I thought it was pretty cool because you and all the vets really kind of rallied around him and had his back where it could have kind of gone sideways at that point in the season. Can you just tell us was that kind of a turning point for you guys?
Yeah, and I felt like, it took a little bit for us to find our identity as a team and what we wanted to be. But really, yeah, I mean, whenever the fire was hot, we just kept persistent. Nothing really changed. He talks about doubling down on our core values, and that's really what we did. And yeah, I mean, usually the first part of the year is moving so fast, and you're just trying to concentrate. But once we started, we started about 2-5. Mm-hmm. Around that Detroit game, things started turning around. Yep. Denver. I feel like that's when our season turned around. Those 2 games.
Hey, Lane, you guys made some strategic moves this offseason to improve the product with younger players, a proven veteran like an A.J. Brown. You look at your biggest competitor, Dallas. They've lost some key offensive linemen. They've lost some key players elsewhere. I know it's on paper, just saying on paper, but do you look at your team now as the best team in the division?
Man, here's how everybody looks at it. They look at their matchups. When everybody sees the Dallas Cowboys, I see Micah Parsons. I'm worried about him and DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah.
If I'm playing Detroit's Aiden Hudson. If I'm playing the Minnesota Vikings, Daniil Hunter and Zadarius Smith. It's like that's who's on my lineup. But
okay.
But really, yeah, man, it's just a lot of preseason hype. That's all it is.
Lane, I got to ask you about the ultimate, man. Standing on that field when that pass was finally hit the ground in Minnesota, Super Bowl 52, and Brady's pass finally went to the ground. There was no yellow flags, anything like that. Just that feeling for you, celebrating and having that moment of euphoria. What was it like?
Well, man, as soon as it went off, everybody it was like Jumanji out there. It was wild. It was everyone would go out there and Mike went out there and trip and get trampled on. So I sat on the bench for about 5-10 seconds, and then I saw Mike Groh. He kind of did the same thing. And then yeah, man, it was just I love seeing all the vets so happy. I mean, that was really and all the coaches that have put all the years in and yeah, man, it's just a special moment. And moving forward, man, that's what I like to do again.
At this stage of your career, have you become more of a leader in your locker room?
Yeah, I mean, I think you can judge that just by the weight room, and then I guess how I treat the younger players. I mean, I love seeing the younger players develop. You know, kind of like what Coyote's doing, what Sua's doing. You get those guys, Jack Driscoll's. Whenever Herbie was here, just guys really taking off. And Dillard, and there's probably some guys I'm leaving out, but just watching those guys develop is probably the most satisfying thing. And then I think, you know, really when you look at coaches, that's what they love to see too, developing young man. And you know, the group we got a lot of good guys in our group.
Lane, last one from me here. Your Sooners, man, little turnover here in the coaching staff. Venables comes in, Lincoln Riley out. What are your thoughts on the new look Sooners?
I don't know if any of y'all have ever met Brent Venables, but he's the most intense human being I've ever seen on this earth.
No question.
Wow.
Hey, no question. It's unbelievable. And he's been like that ever since I've known him. So I think he's up to the challenge for the SEC. I think this is the last year in the Big 12. But yeah, man, we got our old strength coach back, Smitty. If you ask any OU guy that's ever been through the program, Smitty is probably the first guy they'll talk about. So I mean, that they know what's up ahead, and they work hard. Myself and my buddy Tom Ward that played linebacker there spoke to the team a few weeks ago, so that was cool. I went up to his office and talked to him for a little bit, but man, that campus is really grown from, you know, since when I was in college. It's unbelievable. They got Jordans now. Hey, they got all the food they want. Hey, I don't want to go back to it.
Hey, Lane, put it like this, man. Venables was a linebacker that played with me. He played when I played at Kansas State. Bob Stoops was my defensive coordinator, and his brother Mike was the D-line coach.
Hey, so you already know.
So I already know how it is, man. Venables was slow as pond water, but he was cerebral smart, so we knew what the play was going to happen. But he was so intense that he'd run into a wall. I mean, he'd run into those you know, the signs they have for advertisement. He'd run his head through those signs, you know, before the games. That's how intense Brett Venables was. So
but I think what he wanted to get by, if there was a lot more talented players and they saw somebody that was less talented working to that extreme, that if those talented players work like him, what the team could be. And I feel like that's what he makes out of his players.
Absolutely. That's absolutely all he is. Like I said, he was one of those guys that the little train that could. He was that guy because he had not a lick of athletic talent. He was slow as pond water, but I'd be damned if he didn't make every play that he was supposed to play. He was supposed to make. He made every single play he was supposed to make. He started linebacker then, so I'm very close with him. That's my guy. Next time you talk to him, tell him I said what's up, man.
I will.
Hey, Lane, what do you think about What do you think about college players now being able to make money off their names and likeness? I'm sure players of yours are thinking, man, why didn't this happen when I was back in college?
Yes.
Man, it's just, well, you know, the NCAA has done a had a lot of money come their way. And really, ever since like the video game and that going away, it's just sparked a lot of controversy. But yeah, man, it's a slippery slope. I'm not sure how it's all going to be handled, but yeah, man, if players can get money out of it after, putting their bodies on the line and helping their families out, I'm not opposed to it, but I don't know if there's a way to regulate it more or make it. It's just a lot of gray area for me, but no, I'm not opposed to guys getting paid.
Lane, when are you heading back up to Philly? When do you make that trek?
Probably next week. I was there the first couple of weeks. Just got a house, moving that stuff in, and then back at it.
Great, man.
The mini camp, I believe, is June 7th through the 9th.
Okay.
Hey, how's the bass fishing?
Man, it's been raining the past week, so there hasn't been none. But yeah, if you ever get some time off, y'all come down.
I definitely will.
Hey, come in Friday. We'll go out Saturday, Sunday.
There you go. There's your weekend's planned, Barrett.
There we go. There we go.
All right, you're gonna regret that invitation, Lane. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No. It'll be a great time.
All right, Lane. Listen, man. Thanks for taking a couple minutes out of the workout schedule to join us. It was a lot of fun, man. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you for having me. Good
All
seeing
right,
you,
big dog. Good luck, man.
Likewise, man.
All right, see you soon, Lane John. He's a trip, man. How about he's in the gym with us, just kind of just walking around on the phone, getting ready to do his workouts. And he's got the coolest setup too. I wish he was at the house with the barn. Have you guys seen
that
this?
barn is ridiculous.
It looks like it looks like the greatest gym you ever walked into. And he's got the big Oklahoma flag, the whole thing, man. It looks unreal. But that's where I was talking about, where Jalen and some of the guys, when they're in town, they stop down there and work out with him, man. But how about Jalen?
Yeah, I forgot that he went to Oklahoma because, like I said, Brett Venables, Stoops, all those guys were my guys.
Barrett Venables was with Dabo forever at Clemson.
Yeah,
he was his guy forever. And now I'm glad he got an opportunity, man, to go out on his own.
It's crazy because my left guard, I was left tackle, my left guard is actually the offensive line coach down at Alabama right now. He's in Alabama. Yeah, he's in Alabama. He's the offensive line coach in Alabama.
And Venables was your linebacker.
He played linebacker then. He is now the head coach of Oklahoma. There was so many guys that I've crossed paths with that are doing tremendous jobs, for a lot of teams right now, man. So
that's very cool, man.
It's crazy. Cool. It's crazy.
Very cool. All right, yeah. So if you missed any of Lane, just go JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Sports Take, just find us. It'll be there. We will podcast that in its entirety. You can check out the entire thing. That's for sure. All right, let's step aside, guys. Let's roll into our final segment of the program. We got a lot of ground to cover, including the NBA, among other things that we are going to hit when we get back. For Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, I'm Rob Ellis. Don't go anywhere. We are Sports Take.